Hello, everyone. Welcome to Mindset Monday. I am honored to have a very special guest with me this week, and he will actually be joining us for several Mindset Mondays. This is my friend and joint venture partner, Alok, and he is joining the team to help you with your money mindset and with building your business or your career in a way that helps you to increase your income. So it's money mindset as well as helping with developing your marketing strategies and your offers in a way that helps you to be more to have a more lucrative business or career. So we're going to dive into money mindset this week on our Mindset Monday talk. And then on the first Monday of every month, we are going to keep talking about money mindset and helping you to overcome any limitations and obstacles that you've had around money mindset, because we know that this is a topic that is one of the most popular that we talk about here. And it's because it's probably um, one of the more what's the word I'm looking for? Confusing topics, right? We're given so many mixed messages about money from our upbringing and the world around us. You know, money is very confusing for a lot of us, and many of us have limiting beliefs, or we've heard a lot of stories about money that don't really align with how we want to perceive it and how we want to feel about it. So we're going to help you break through those limitations and get into alignment with money the way that you want to. So, Alok, I'd love for you to introduce yourself and share with everybody a little bit more about who you are and how you'll be working with us here in Align and Design Your Life.
Sure. Hey, Christine. Thank you. Nice to meet everybody in the group. My name's Alok Karnik. I just found out a week or two ago that my technical title is growth consultant. So essentially, what I do is I'm helping Christine with her marketing, and I'm also beginning helping you with your marketing. So what I want to talk about today is just get right to the business and talk about the misunderstandings around money and marketing and sales. So the first thing I want to cover today is what is money? So money is simply a placeholder for value. Okay. Money is not a real thing that is, some kind of fixed thing that never changes. So if we look through history, the first money was actually like salt. So in the bartering days when some guy like killed the deer and he had meat and another person had vegetables, they would barter and exchange, some meat for vegetables, and they would like make their dinner and everybody was happy. But at a certain point, what happened was that it was hard to store, things like meat and vegetables. So salt became a very, very precious asset. And salt actually became the first currency through which people stored value. So salt was the holder of value. And then over time, that shifted to precious metals like gold, silver, copper, bronze, right? These things became the holder of value. So really, what is money? Money is not a thing, but it's rather a placeholder of value. So, as a business owner, as someone who is a professional and maybe transitioning to business, the number one most important skill that you can really hone in is your ability to perceive and create value. Okay? That's the first thing I really want to drive in on today's call is that, trying to chase after money is not going to make you more money. Rather, being able to identify and perceive value, where is the value in the market, and then create value, that is going to be the number one driver for increasing your income. Okay. So, let's take like an example, Christine. Bread, right? So, back in the day, people used to just bake breads, and you'd have this giant hard loaf of bread. And then I think it was like Wonder Bread or something. Some company decided we're gonna make the value of bread go up for our entire customer base by slicing it.
Mm.
And that's where they're saying this is the best thing since sliced bread, because that was a serious value driver for a lot of women and homemakers back in, what, I don't know, like the 50s or something, because they no longer had to struggle with slicing bread every time they wanted to make like a sandwich or something, or toast. It was pre-sliced, and that allowed that company to raise the price of their commodity. So it's not in trying to find more money or like trying to manifest money in some confusing way. That's not the way to make money, right? The simplest, easiest way to make more money is identify A, what are the gaps in the market, and B, how can I use my skills to add more value to this current situation, right? And, let's take an example. Like, I studied, science for many, many years. I was studying yoga for many, many years. And it just so happens that these skills I developed my whole life are very, very valuable when I plug them in to marketing and sales. It just translates really well. So if we look at what is the problem I can solve in the market and what skills do I have, if we keep honing this ability in, that is naturally going to set us up to make more money, because money flows to value, right? That's what I want to say. Money flows to value, right? It's not in trying to go after money that you get more money. It's rather creating that low pressure zone so that money can flow to you, so that people identify and see this person is valuable, or this service is valuable, or this product is valuable. That is where money is really made. It's in creating more value than there was the other day. So how do we do this? How do we actually create more value? Well, we have tools, we have things, we have commodities in the day to day. For example, there's wood, there's brick, there's building materials, right? By themselves, building materials maybe are worth, let's say, like $10, right? $10 a pound, right? This is a very rough estimate, but let's say they're worth $10 a pound. Now, if I'm somebody that has skills in building and crafting, I can take those $10 a pound materials and craft something. I could make a barn, I could make a house, I could make a garage, I could make a highway, I could make a railroad. I could make something that increases the inherent value of the material,
Mhm.
right? So what I'm doing when I'm creating money is not actually creating money. I'm actually creating value. I'm creating more ease in someone's life. I'm creating a better experience. I'm creating a faster mode of transportation. I'm creating a more comfortable living environment. I'm creating a situation for the end user to experience that material in a higher frequency, in a higher vibration, in a higher kind of way of being, right?
Mhm.
So that's the number one thing, is you don't create more money by going after money. You create more money by identifying where can I add more value to a system. Okay, so the market is a system. It's a bunch of people trying to figure out how to do things better, right? And anytime you increase the efficiency of a system, you create value, right? Let's look at like Bitcoin, right? So before Bitcoin, we used to transact, actually, let's go a step back. Let's go like pure cash, right? Before we had the internet, everything was transacted with like these banknotes and cash, and it was very cumbersome. You had to record keep with like pen and paper. And then the internet came about and everything went to cloud, and things like PayPal blew up, and things like eBay and all these new services that made, essentially what I'm trying to say is, by taking a problem and figuring out a solution to it, all of these companies became massively wealthy, not because they were trying to find money, but rather they were trying to solve a problem. They were trying to increase the efficiency of the system. Okay. And if you can think along these lines, is okay, I'm in this market, I'm in a system. Maybe it's your workplace, maybe it's your home, maybe it's your job, maybe it's your own business, maybe you're trying to help people get healthier, maybe you're trying to help people lose weight, maybe you're trying to help people take better photographs. Whatever it is, you're in a system. That's called the market, right? And when you are a service provider, your number one and sole duty is to figure out, how do I increase the user experience? How do I make this system better? How do I add value how do I create a better offer that will drive business to me? You don't go and chase business. You actually try to look and say, what are the problems? Where are the inefficiencies in this system? And how could I apply my skills to that system and make it better? It's like math, when you have a bunch of math problems, you just look at the problem and you say, how can I solve this in the simplest way? So that is how you actually create more money. You create more money not by going after money, right? That'll keep you trapped in a loop. You create more money by improving the efficiency of the system which you exist in. Okay, so Christine, do you have thoughts? You want to share anything?
Yeah, I love this so much because I think what gets most of us caught up when it comes to money is the idea that money
Hard to get, or
is
like
hard to
something
get, or
scarce.
that in order to get it, we have to always think positively, that we have to, like, our energy always has to be high vibe in order for money to come to us. I think we see this a lot on Instagram when people talk about manifestation, right? They talk about money as this thing, like, if you just visualize it, it will come to you. And if you're high vibe, it will come to you. And, you know,
Let me tell you a story, okay?
yeah.
And this is the power of thinking negatively, right? And not saying like in a destructive way, but if
Mhm.
you can think negatively without affecting your kind of state,
Yeah.
it's a very, very profitable thing to do, actually. If you can think negatively and say, what are all the problems in this system?
Yeah.
And identify like what are the gaps, that's negative thinking, but it's used in a positive way. And
Right.
that's like immense value.
Yeah.
We'll use examples like there are these guys that it's called hedge funds, and I don't know if I'm getting too over the heads of everybody, but you can actually make money by saying that company is overvalued and I'm going to short that stock. Now, of course, it can be used in a destructive way, but it can often be used in a market correcting healthy way, right? If there's a company that is creating bad products, right? And you see that, you've done your research and you find this is like a negative product, it's polluting the environment, it's, harming, it's creating cancer, whatever. There is a investor, I'm not going to name his name, but he actually does this. He researches companies, and if he finds they're not operating, ethically, efficiently, whatever, he will short the stock and then create a report on why he did it. And often it exposes a deficiency in that company,
Mhm.
and that company naturally loses market share because it's not creating enough value, right?
Right.
And by thinking negatively, right? Let's take another example. Let's take this water bottle, right? So this water bottle, it's filled up right now, and you can see it has a volume and a shape. But this company, Platypus, said, what are all the problems with traditional water bottles? Well, they are very bulky, they're very heavy, they take up a lot of room in your backpack if you're camping. So they decided, let's take this negative thinking, let's take all these problems and now devise a solution to it. So they made this plasticky bag that literally squeezes down to nothing, and now you've saved space. And this is like a $30. Can you believe it? This plastic is $30. I mean, it's
Right.
built well, it's lasted a long time, but what I'm trying to get at is by looking at the problems in a market, by thinking negatively, you actually can come up with a lot of great solutions.
Mhm.
This is an example. So I can throw this in my pack, and then it's light, and when I'm done with all my water, it's not heavy.
Yeah.
So the next thing I want to talk about is, you know, how do you really make a lot of money? Okay. So we've talked about how do you actually attract money or create money or have money flowing to you.
Mhm.
Now we want to talk about how do we make a lot of it? How do we have that flow increase? So how do we multiply or leverage the effect of our offer, of our skill?
Mhm.
And unlike, traditional thinking, which is like, you want to be good at many, many things. In this market, in this economy, with the way everything is structured today, the most effective way to actually leverage your skill set is to get really good at one thing. Become a master of one thing, get really focused on one thing. Like Christine, what we're focusing on is, the Enneagram. Nobody really does Enneagram and applies it to business like we're doing. And that's going to create a lot more value for the end users because you can't get that anywhere else. You can't get Enneagram for business anywhere else, right? So instead of trying to do five different things okay, the fastest way to leverage your skill set is to get even better at that one thing that you're really good at already. So go from good to excellent, excellent to great, great to master. So that's the fastest way to leverage your cash flow is to see, okay, now I have this product that's working. How can I make this product 10 times better and 10 times more effective and 10 times faster to get that end result? So that's the power of really focusing in on one thing and deciding like I'm gonna let this thing go, I'm gonna let this thing go, and I'm gonna really focus on doing this one thing because this is where the most value is. This is where I can create the most efficiency in the system. This is where my customers are asking me for more help all the time.
Mhm.
So by really deciding I'm gonna just tackle this problem, and by going deeper into that system and solving bigger and bigger issues, you actually make more and more money. I think a good example of this is like, calendar software, honestly, or any
Mm.
system as a service. If you look at like system as a service, usually they start out very, very simple, like Calendly. Calendly was a very, very simple, not complicated scheduling software, but it's become so popular because it was good at one thing. It was good at just making the process of booking a call very, very easy and not confusing, right? If we look at the problems in the market when it comes to scheduling, it's always around confusion. People, click the wrong thing, they don't know how to work it, and it just becomes a hassle and you lose conversions, you lose your booked calls. So Calendly said, let's make the interface as simple as possible and easy as possible for the end user to book a call. And they've grown exponentially. So it's not by doing something fancy or complicated that you make a lot more money. It's actually by doing the simple thing but doing it very well that
Mhm.
you can really make a lot of money. So
Yeah, and it's allowing yourself to be in your zone of genius, right? To the find the offer, the business, the profession that aligns best with your strengths, with your personality, with the life that you truly want to live, and then really going all in on it, knowing that it's going to be, if it's in alignment with you and your personality, it's going to feel easier. It's going to feel more effortless. You're going to get to just be yourself in the process of creating your business, your profession, instead of trying to do it the way that everybody else is telling you how to do it, right? Or that you have to be a certain way or, think a certain way or have a certain kind of energy, that you really just get to be you, tap into your strengths, tap into your true nature, and then really go all in on that one thing that adds value to the world, that solves someone's problem, that increases the satisfaction in their life or helps decrease the pain in their life. And when you're doing that, I think personally, that's where the beauty of the Enneagram and the mindset work connects with the business, right? And you can really create that alignment between who you are and serving the market. And then I think that growth just really can be so exponential.
absolutely. So next is, can you really attract money? Is there something like magnetism? Is this a real thing? And I won't create this, like it's real or not real, but I'd rather have you just consider a few things, right, in your life. When did you get the best results in anything? Was it when you were happy or when you were unhappy? Did you, let's dating, relationships, business, money, job, whatever. Were you the best? Did you get the best performance? Were you at your peak when you were unhappy or when you were happy? So if you just look at this and see when you did really, really well, what kind of mood were you in? What kind of state were you in? And, what was the end result of that? So I will say that, there is a way, there's a process, there's many processes you can use to increase your energy, increase your focus, increase, the way you perceive things. A very basic one coming from yoga, it's called pranayama. You can look that up. So there are ways to increase your energetic state. And, anytime you're in better alignment, in better harmony with the system in which you exist in, it makes sense that it's going to be easier for you, right? If you're going with the crowd, if you're going with the flow, it's easier than trying to walk against traffic or, trying to push against people, right? So there is, natural law, and there are fundamental forces at play in the universe that make certain tasks easy, right? So if it's very easy for me to communicate a point, do you think that it would be easier for me to make money and be more persuasive? I'll leave that up to you. I won't say anything. So how do you actually increase your attraction power? When we're talking about money specifically, we've already covered that money is not a real thing. Rather, creating value in a system is real, right? So how do you actually create more value in your world? I think that's something, Christine, we can definitely dive into in like the program itself. That would be a very interesting module or something like that. But anytime you have a system, like let's take a car, right? If you have these like big, huge, clunky dirt tires, they make a lot of noise on the road. They go like, you shake, it kills your gas. Do you think you'll get as far in those clunky dirt tires as if you had like nice road, sports tires? No, you wouldn't, right? It just makes sense that depending on the vehicle you're in, depending on how you approach, the system, that's how far you're gonna get, right? Similarly, if I'm on a dirt road and I have sports car tires, I'm not gonna get very far. There's not gonna be any traction, right? So we have a system and a process, right, to get through certain challenges and obstacles. And when we're talking about money, we want to think along the lines of, well, what's our vehicle we're going to use to solve this problem, right? So if I'm in a market where, for example, it's like a dirt track, I want to build a vehicle specific for that market. And if I'm in, a highway and that's my market, right? The market's just the environment. I want to build a vehicle that's suited for driving on the highway. If I'm on a racetrack, I want to build a vehicle suited for the racetrack. So when we're talking about money, right, we have to first look at our market. We have to understand what's the environment in which we are building our vehicle. Okay.
Mm,
We want to have the always in mind, how do I create more value for my, if we want to think of it along a linear path, it's like increasing value, right? So we want to create ourselves a vehicle that increases the value for the customer. So as I can increase the value for the customer, my revenue, my cash flow will naturally go up, provided I market and sell properly. So the question is not, how do I find the best process for, that's going to work across everything, because it doesn't exist. What you really want to ask is, what do I build to create the most value for my current environment? And this has changed over time, like before, let's say the 1900s, what would be valuable when there were no roads? It was a horse. But after, railroads and roads and, we had paved roads, horses are not going to be able to traverse that environment, right? So it's not going to be valuable at all. So essentially, when we're thinking systems and processes, right, which, when we're thinking systems and processes, and I know this is like a big, confusing point for many people. It's like, oh, what kind of systems and processes should I
Mhm.
use? What we really are thinking about is what's the vehicle I want to take to maximize the value for my customer? And it's not something that is generic. It's gonna depend on your customer and your market. So it's not something you can just pull off the shelf and say, this is gonna be the best thing. Rather, you have to really look and see, it's like, what do I need to build? What kind of systems, processes do I build for my business? And what's the vehicle, aka the offer, I can give to my customer that would get them the best results? If you have a bunch of action takers, like a lot of my clients are action takers, so I don't need to build a lot of processes that motivate them to take action because they're taking action anyways. I need to build clarity, a lot of clarity into my processes so they get what they should do next because they're going to do it anyways. But if you're like a depression coach or if you're a motivation coach, you're going to need a whole different set of processes to maximize the value. So I guess what I'm trying to say is it comes down to doing the research. You have to really understand what you're building in order to create the most value for your customers. Um, and a lot of this comes down to like getting over internal blocks, right? So that's the last thing I want to talk about is you want to build an effective vehicle, but sometimes your own biases, belief, karmas, frustrations, challenges come up in the process, and it becomes difficult to really think critically and say, well, I think this is the thing I need to do for my clients because blank. Rather, what would happen is you'd say, oh, I think I need to do that, but I'm afraid or I'm nervous or something comes up, or you say something and your perception is biased. So internal blocks actually become a big limiting factor for really just seeing what's the value that we ourselves have.
Mhm.
And I think we can wrap up today, Christine, by sharing that we are developing our own process for anybody that's interested in really getting that handhold guidance on this path to creating more value for their clients. I'd say, like, Christine, you can kind of quickly share what we're creating and then how to get in touch with you if anybody's interested.
Yeah. So, in addition to what we already have inside Align and Design Your Life, which is a program that helps you to really understand and recognize these internal obstacles, these internal blocks. Where did they come from? Why do you have them? And then how do you work through them? How do you right size them or turn down the volume on these blocks so that you can take action? In addition to understanding that and learning that, you also will have the ability to get a deeper understanding of how you apply your strengths and your talents and what interests you to what you're offering to the world. So, for those who are interested in taking that deeper dive and really getting that support on creating a business that feels good for you, that aligns with your personality and your true nature, that lets you be in your zone of genius and have fun while you're building your business, then we're going to show you how to do that and walk you through that process. So if that's something you're interested in, just simply come into the Facebook group, let us know. The best thing you can do is just send me an email at hello@alignanddesignyourlife.com, and we can talk about what that would look like for you.
Yeah, definitely. Having a process that's customized for your individual market and
Mm.
having someone that can look over your shoulders and say like, hey, have you noticed this thing? Like that would add a lot of value to
Yeah.
your specific offer. um, yeah, so I think if you're interested and you want that kind of guidance along that process of how do I actually create more value for my market? How do I develop actual market research protocols that will get me to understand what my customers need and like how do I actually do that in a fast, ethical way? I think this would be a good thing to reach out about, and then definitely just shoot Christina an email or I'm sure you can also message someone on your team through like Facebook or something like that. That could also
Yes,
work.
you can message me through Facebook. You can message Caitlin Keys, who's our community specialist, or any of our other coaches, Keely Winfield or Karen Harmon.
Cool.
Yeah.
So yeah, we're really excited to share this. It's still in a beta phase, and we're testing this with a small group of people. So it's gonna definitely be very high touch, very kind of, I don't want to say exclusive, but definitely there are gonna be certain qualifications to meet. And we'd love to have you on board if you are someone that is kind of wondering, how do I leave my 9 to 5, my corporate job, and start a business in a very systematic, efficient, powerful way. I think this could be a good, container for you. Or if you're just somebody that has kind of been doing inconsistent revenue and wondering like, well, why is my marketing not hitting? Why is my sales process not working? I think this could also be really effective to help you just hone in and laser in on that product that's gonna, it just comes back at the end of the day. Like, if you want to make more money, you cannot focus on money. You have to focus on increasing value
Value.
for your end user. And, this is what this container, I guess we could call it, is really about. Is like, what is the process you can actually take to go step by step and increase value of your product and do it in a ethical way and do it in a fast way,
Mhm.
and do it in a precise way. So yeah, I'm very glad to, get this rolling with you, Christine. And that's all I have. I guess if they have questions, because Facebook is down today, they can just type them in the comments or something, and then
Yeah, we're gonna post this recording in the Facebook group. We'll send it. Some of you might be seeing this through the email blast. So if you have questions and you would like to bring them to the group, please feel free to. You can just post a comment below this recording, or if you're seeing this through the email that we're sending, just simply hit reply and ask your question, and we'll be sure to get back to you. Yep. And
cool.
then hopefully we'll be live next week for Mindset Monday, as long as Facebook can get back on track. And thank you, Alok, so much for all of your insights and for coming aboard and joining us inside Align and Design Your Life to help both our community, our collaborative, and all of our clients to have a better experience, to help them with their money mindset, but also in particular with their business and increasing the value that they provide so that they
Yep.
can
All
increase
about
their
customer
income.
lifetime value.
Yes,
And,
absolutely.
I'll wrap it up by saying this one thing. It's like, I think, there is a big trend to focus on sales and marketing, but,
Mhm.
I will say that that's not the right focus.
Right.
The focus needs to be on creating more value for your customer, and that's called customer lifetime value. And when you actually apply this to your business, you'll be amazed that your marketing and sales become so much easier because the offer sells itself, right? And because you're retaining customers for a much longer period of time, you don't need to make as many sales. You don't need to push as many emails. You don't need to do as much marketing because each customer is now worth a lot more. And what do you think happens when you have a customer that stays on for years and years and years? They just become marketing for you. They become fans and they do the work for you. So I will end with that. I could go on all day and forever and ever, but that's what that program is for that we're building. So if you're
Yes.
interested, definitely reach out, and we'd be happy to have a chat with you. Cool.
Absolutely. Yeah. And I want to piggyback on that. I think the one thing that we see the most of out in the world for entrepreneurs in particular is it's all about the sales and the marketing. And I talk to so many people who have focused on sales and marketing, but haven't really taken the time to align what they're selling with the value that they're providing with themselves. Like, how do they actually want to sell and market in a way that aligns with their personality, right? Not everyone's an extrovert. Not everyone likes to do lives. Not everyone does things the same way. And when you can truly develop the value that you want to offer and you share it in a way that aligns with you, it's so much less about marketing and sales, and it's about creating value and sharing that in a way that really connects who you are and what you're offering with the people who really want what you've got. And when we're able to do that, the whole process shifts. It becomes so much more joyful, more fun. It becomes easier and more lucrative. So we're really excited to help our clients on that path and to help you start out right. Or if you've been, focusing too much on sales and marketing, it's just feeling frustrating or inconsistent. We're going to help you bring it back to a place where it's going to feel very different for you. And I'm excited. I'm super excited that we're doing this and we're bringing this to our community. So thank you, Alok, for joining us today and sharing more about the value with
Hmm.
when we bring money
Absolutely.
back to the value.
Yep.
And it really,
It
that
becomes so
already
easy. It becomes so easy
so much
when you
easier.
focus on the right things.
Yep.
And
Yep.
definitely happy to be doing a market correction because really
Yes.
that's what it's about. Yep.
Yep. Yes. All right. Thank you so much. And we'll see you all soon.
See you soon.